The scene didn't explode with fireworks or scandalous shouting, but it carried the kind of tension that leaves people leaning forward, unsure of what they're witnessing. Prince Harry was on stage at Kevin Costner's charity event, meant to honor first responders. The room was full of Hollywood stars like Jeff Bridges and Rob Lowe, and the mood should have been celebratory. Yet what unfolded wasn't about the event itself, it was about Harry and Meghan Markle's dynamic playing out, silently but unmistakably, in front of hundreds of eyes and countless cameras. Harry had been handed the microphone by an organizer, a clear signal that this was his moment to speak. Meghan, however, wasn't content to stand quietly in the background. She reached for the microphone once, then again, her smile perfectly poised but slightly strained. Harry, instead of giving way, as he has often done in the past, pulled the mic back, laughed it off, and carried on speaking. In that brief, awkward tug-of-war, the truth of their relationship dynamic seemed to reveal itself. What should have been a polished, charitable evening turned into an uncomfortable power struggle, broadcast live in body language rather than words. The organizers didn't miss it. Neither did the crowd. One female organizer even attempted to pass the microphone to Meghan before abruptly pulling it back, pretending the offer had never been made. The hesitation mirrored the dynamic of the couple itself: uncertainty, imbalance, and a lack of unity. Meghan, who once seemed able to command any room with ease, now looked like she was forcing herself into a space that wasn't hers. Harry, meanwhile, appeared determined to hold on, gripping the microphone as though it symbolized far more than a speech. For years, the story surrounding Harry and Meghan has been one of unity. They walked away from the palace hand in hand, promising freedom and a fresh start together. But on that stage, the cracks showed. Meghan's smile looked rehearsed, her laughter sharp instead of warm, her body language edging toward desperation rather than elegance. Harry's demeanor, usually open and warm, was closed off, almost defensive. Together, they didn't look like partners. They looked like rivals, competing for the same shrinking spotlight. It didn't help that Meghan's role in the evening appeared unscripted. She wasn't billed as a speaker, and her attempts to take the mic looked more like interruptions than contributions. Witnesses noted her wrinkled outfit and hurried movements toward the spotlight, small details that added to the sense that her presence was less commanding and more intrusive. Harry's refusal to hand her the mic only amplified the impression. He wasn't going to yield this time. All of this unfolded against a backdrop of growing pressure on Meghan's reputation. The Hollywood Reporter had recently published a scathing piece painting her as a dictator in high heels, citing 12 insiders who backed up that claim. She had also been absent from WME's high-profile Emmy party, a glaring absence for someone represented by the agency. Whispers about her fading influence in Hollywood were already loud, and the awkwardness at the charity event only made them louder. What once looked like unshakable confidence now came across as overcompensation, as though Meghan was desperate to cling to relevance slipping away. Harry, meanwhile, carried his own contradictions. Even as he stood in California sunshine trying to reinvent himself, reminders of his royal identity kept pulling him back. Ukraine's government had recently addressed him as His Royal Highness in correspondence, a recognition that underscored his lingering royal weight. On stage, that tension was clear: one foot in his new life, the other still chained to the old. The mic, in his hands, became more than a tool. It was a symbol of identity, authority, and control. What might have passed as an awkward couple's moment quickly spread far beyond the event. Clips of the exchange circulated online, slowed down, zoomed in, and analyzed like courtroom evidence. Commentators pointed to Harry's grip on the microphone as proof of a new, more assertive Harry, while Meghan's persistence was dissected as evidence of her desperation. The press didn't focus on Harry's speech or the events, because they focused on the silence, the body language, and the sense of fracture between the couple. Perhaps the most telling reaction came not from tabloids but from the event organizers themselves. No one issued a statement to smooth over the awkwardness. No effort was made to control the damage. That silence suggested something damning: that protecting Meghan's image was no longer a priority. And in Hollywood, where reputation is everything, that kind of indifference can be fatal. Behind the scenes, Meghan's struggles in the industry were already showing. Insiders noted her absence at networking events as a red flag. Agencies don't waste resources on clients who won't show up. Her Hollywood experiment, once touted as a sure success, now looked shaky. Even her fashion choices were scrutinized, with critics noting her wrinkled outfit at the Costner event as a symbol of fading polish. What was once effortless had become strained. Harry, on the other hand, found legitimacy abroad. Being formally addressed with his royal title by Ukraine reminded the world he still carried weight beyond Hollywood's fickle circles. That respect contrasted sharply with Meghan's awkward reception, highlighting an imbalance. One seemed to be gaining quiet recognition, the other losing influence by the day. The Hollywood Reporter's damning piece added fuel to the fire, with 12 insiders lined up to describe Meghan as domineering. The article gave her critics ammunition that felt impossible to dismiss. Against that backdrop, her behavior at the Costner event looked less like an isolated slip and more like confirmation of her critics' claims. What once was charm now looked brittle. What once was confidence now felt forced. Harry's brand, however, wasn't unscathed. That same night, Richard Marx's wife mistook him for Prince William. To be confused with his brother, especially at a high-profile event, cut deeply into his identity. It highlighted how far his personal brand had slipped. He wanted to be recognized as both a California everyman and a respected royal. But instead, he risked being remembered as neither. Together, Harry and Meghan looked less like a united front and more like two people drifting apart under the glare of public scrutiny. He clung to symbols of tradition, whether consciously or not, while she fought desperately for Hollywood relevance. The tug-of-war over the mic became the perfect metaphor for their struggle. He held on, she reached, and neither looked willing to let go. The fallout has been swift. Hollywood insiders whispered that Meghan was becoming a liability. Social media users replayed the clips endlessly, turning them into memes. Observers speculated openly about the couple's future. Had the royal rebels finally lost their magic? Was this moment proof of a deeper fracture, one that couldn't be repaired? For Meghan, the challenge now lies in reclaiming authenticity. Audiences can forgive mistakes, but they rarely forgive inauthenticity. And in that moment, on stage, her smiles looked plastered on, her movements calculated, her insistence on being noticed too obvious. For Harry, the contradiction remains. He wants freedom, but the shadow of royalty refuses to let him go. The irony is sharp. They left the palace believing they could escape scrutiny. Instead, they've found themselves in a world that scrutinizes them even more harshly. Every gesture, every silence, every misstep is magnified, replayed, and dissected. And unlike the palace, Hollywood offers no shield. It only accelerates the fall. If you found this breakdown compelling, make sure to subscribe for more deep dives into the untold stories, hidden tensions, and revealing moments that shape the headlines. The real drama isn't always in the shouting, it's in the silences, the gestures, and the cracks that can no longer be ignored. Stay tuned.